Hello. This story is part of a series titled The Kayo Jijinas. In 1974 or possibly 75, Uncle Bahman on mom's side of the family ran a diner at the San Carlos airport in California. One day his dishwasher failed to show up, so he contacted me and asked if I could come down and help him. At the end of the shift, he paid me, and I was really excited because I had not expected it. Excited until Dad got wind of the fact I had been paid and made me give all the money to Mom, claiming he did not want me to get the taste of money. Welcome to Storytime with Kumars. My name is Kayo Jijina, and this is my story titled The Taste of Money. I hope you enjoy it. Next door lived Mrs. Balcom. She was in her late 80s. Her husband had recently passed away and was a champion primrose breeder. The house was made up of 2 city lots. One had a home and the other a vegetable garden that would eventually become the Greenwood Pea Patch at 343 Northwest 88th Street in Seattle. Across the street and to the left at 332 Northwest 88th lived Paul and Laverne Adams, a couple in their early 80s. Paul was an ex-railroad employee who had been involved in an accident. A train he was working on rolled over both his legs and they had to be amputated. He drank 1 to 2 cases of beer each day. He collected guns and had them sitting all over the house, something that made me a little nervous. Eventually, he would attempt suicide. Laverne retired from the Salvation Army store that used to be on the east side of Greenwood Avenue North, close to Northwest 88th Street. Across the street at 326 Northwest 88th sat a vacant home, damaged in a 1965 earthquake. Dad had his eye on the lot as a possible site for Mom's dream home. Adjacent to the vacant home sat Rowena Sizer at 324 Northwest 88th Street. Rowena used to work at the Salvation Army store with Laverne. Her house was packed full of trinkets from the store, and there was no place to sit or set anything down. Now retired, Laverne sold A1 products. Brother and I were watching Gilligan's Island in the front house on the old black and white TV we picked up at the Salvation Army when Dad walked in. There seemed to be a sense of urgency to his voice.
Come on, boys. I think we have a problem outside.
What problem? I asked, hoping to stall Dad and buy Gilligan a few extra minutes to get rescued off the island for the 100th time.
Turn off the TV and come outside.
Dad knew turning off the TV was the only way to shift our focus. We met Dad outside. He pointed to the ground.
Does that ground seem a little wet to you?
Asking if the ground seemed a little wet was like asking if it ever rained in Seattle. I don't know, Dad. It seems normal to me.
Don't be stupid. It never gets that wet here. I think we have a serious problem.
The mind was turning to sarcasm as a way of releasing tension, especially when Dad got to name-calling, but I held back.
Tell Mom not to use the water until we check this out.
We dug down a bit to find the water meter, uncovered the glass top, and watched the dial. With no one using the water, the numbers continued to roll. A sure sign something was wrong. Dad flipped to the yellow pages and began calling around for a plumber. The first one he called was busy. The second had some time. But as soon as the conversation turned to price, Dad couldn't wait to get off the phone. He thanked the plumber profusely and promised to call him right back, but never did. Instantly, Brother and I were drafted. I was sent next door to borrow some tools. Mrs. Balcom lent us 2 shovels, a pickaxe, and a wheelbarrow. As a kind gesture, she included a garden hose long enough to drape over the fence, and the use of her water. The digging began. Not sure what we were looking for because we had never done this type of work before. Dad yelled out explicit instructions in a way only he could.
Be careful not to hit anything.
did not take long for the nonsensical conversation between brother and I to begin. Interesting. We moved all the way to the US to dig ditches. I say, oh boy, how much longer before we reach China? Oh, any moment now. Digging was hard work. Muscles I had not used before began to scream out, letting me know they were not happy. The back ached. By the time we found the water pipe, I was chest deep. That's how far down we had dug. Are we done? I looked to Dad.
No, son. We have to replace the whole section of pipe. Take out the galvanized and replace it with copper, all the way down to the side of the house.
I scanned the perimeter. Across the yard, down the side of the front house, to the shutoff valve. That was about 30 feet.
Come on, boys, let's get started.
Not sure what Dad was so gung-ho about. It was us doing the work. Suggesting Dad hire someone with a backhoe or a laborer to help with the digging was not going to happen. Why did we need laborers when he had brother and me to do the work? Over the next 3 days, brother and I dug and took turns carrying 5-gallon buckets of water to the house for cooking, drinking, washing, and flushing toilets. With each bucket of water carried and each shovel of dirt dug came a karmic IOU for brother and I. By the end of the week, we were done, and it took another couple of days to cover things up. A few weeks later, Mrs. Balcom came knocking and asked if brother or I would be interested in mowing her lawn. I told her we had to first discuss it with Dad. Dad seemed to take the conversation well.
I knew this would happen. I hate getting involved with these people, and then they come asking you for things.
Eventually, he did come around. However, there was the matter of payment. That was against us getting paid.
I don't want you boys getting the taste of money. Besides, Mrs. Balcom let us use her water, and we should do it for free.
To my way of thinking, the debt was between Dad and Mrs. Balcom. We had saved him a boatload of money by pitching in and doing the work ourselves. And free was not a good way to start off negotiations. Maybe once or twice for free, that I could understand. As was customary, Dad declined the money, but thankfully Mrs. Balcom saw the foolishness in it and insisted, if we were in this for the long haul, some cash needed to exchange hands. The $5 Mrs. Balcom offered shrunk down to $2 for 3 hours of work, and Dad would supervise the use of the lawnmower. We had never used a gas lawnmower before.
Son, I don't want you chopping your foot off for no good reason.
At the end of the day, $2 was better than nothing. Paul, who was permanently stationed by his front window, enjoying his breakfast, lunch, and dinner beer, did not take long to notice brother and I were mowing Mrs. Balcom's lawn. One evening, as I was visiting, he asked how much we were getting paid. Growing up in Iran, you did not talk about these types of things like money. It was considered bad luck. Your neighbors might turn the evil eye on you if they heard how much you were making. But in this case, the opposite was true. So instead of envy, it would have been sympathy. And I decided to tell him, $2, and explained Dad's position on the matter. Paul was not one to hold back.
That size lot for $2? That's ridiculous. Mine is a quarter of the size. I will pay you $3.
A tempting offer indeed. The challenge was running Paul's request past Dad. We had learnt to wait for the evening after Dad took a shower and was in a better mood before entering into a conversation of this nature. Dad's better mood left early that evening as I broached the subject.
I knew this would happen. Once they see you doing one lot, everyone will ask you to do theirs. I don't like this at all. You boys are getting carried away. No, son, this is not our way. This is a time for you to focus on your studies, do your schoolwork. I don't want you getting the taste of money. Once this happens, you will think to yourself, I am making money. I don't need to go to school. I don't need to go to college. There's no hurry. You have the rest of your life to work. Right now, just focus on your studies and helping the family."
Reluctantly, Dad agreed. It did not take long for Mrs. Sizer to get word from Laverne, Paul's wife. We were mowing their lawn. One afternoon, Mrs. Sizer asked if we would consider doing her lawn. I recapped the Dad conversation and explained what we were up against. Mrs. Sizer had a bit of street smarts. "Don't tell your dad I'm paying you $5. Just say I'm paying you $3. What he doesn't know won't hurt him." I liked this woman. She understood my dad.